Why the Denver Broncos will win the Super Bowl in 2019. Make sure to stay tuned to find out why. What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports Max, you guys, with another video. This video, I'm continuing my series talking about why all 32 NFL teams will win the Super Bowl in 2019. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Denver Broncos. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. I upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. And the Denver Broncos. So, this Denver Broncos team is very solid in my opinion. I think this team is good enough to win the Super Bowl. And first, I'm going to address the question that I get asked on the daily. Is Joe Flacco a bad quarterback? And that my answer to that is no. I think Joe Flacco is not a bad quarterback. You win the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco has proved in the past, as long as you surround him with talent and a great defense, he can win you games. This is what this Denver Broncos team has. They have a great defense. They have a new head coach in Vic Fangio, who emphasizes the defense side of the ball. And you got Joe Flacco with a solid offensive line, very solid in pass protection, which is a big reason why he struggled down there in Baltimore. The offensive line wasn't really the best when it came to pass protection. We saw that in the playoff game against the LA Chargers. They weren't really able to do that much when it came to pass protection against the LA Chargers in that wild card game, which they lost. So when Joe Flacco got traded to the Denver Broncos, I think it was just time for a chance for Joe Flacco. New change of scenery. And also, I think this Denver Broncos team is better suited for a guy like a Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco isn't really going to have to do that much. Because think about it, you have Philip Lindsay and you have my guy Royce Freeman, aka Rolls Royce. And Philip Lindsay, you already know about Philip Lindsay, undrafted free agent out of the University of Colorado, had a phenomenal rookie season last year, went to a Pro Bowl. I mean, the guy was sensational. Then you have Royce Freeman. Now, him and Royce Freeman were going toe-to-toe to see who was going to end up being the RB1 for the Denver Broncos. They were kind of splitting carries for the first couple of weeks during the 2018 season. And then Royce Freeman ended up suffering an injury. And then Philip Lindsay started pulling away with the competition. When Royce Freeman came back, it was already a little bit too late. But they have a solid group of halfbacks there. You also got Theo Riddick, who they signed in free agency. And you also have Devontae Booker there. So you have a solid group of halfbacks there. So Joe Flacco, he's going to have a run game. You have a solid offensive line. You have left tackle Garrett Bowles. You have left guard Ronald Leary. You got center Connor McGovern. You got right guard Dalton Risner. You got right tackle Jawan James. So that's a pretty solid offensive line there. So that offensive line should be good enough to keep Joe Flacco protected and keep him upright. You also got wide receivers Emmanuel Sanders, who is coming off of an injury. He should be pretty solid. This is also a very big year for Emmanuel Sanders. This is pretty much a make or break year for Emmanuel Sanders. It should motivate him, because if he doesn't end up having a good season this year, we can see him ended up getting released by the Denver Broncos or whatever after this season is over. So this is a make or break season for Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to have to come out here. He's going to have to prove something. I think he'll be able to have 1,000 receiving yards this year. Then you also got Courtland Sutton, who had a solid rookie season in 2018. In 2019, a lot of people are expecting him to take a step up. So Joe Flacco has a very solid group of wide receivers. He also has Deshaun Hamilton and Juwan Winfrey, who caught that game-winning touchdown against the Atlanta Falcons in the Hall of Fame game. So this Denver Broncos receiving core is pretty solid. He also has a very solid group of tight ends. One thing about Joe Flacco is, when you have a quarterback like Joe Flacco, he goes through like a lot of tight ends. I think the Baltimore Ravens drafted a lot of tight ends when he was their starting quarterback during his time there at Baltimore. So he always had pretty solid tight ends. So the Denver Broncos, they have a very good group of tight ends. They probably have one of the better tight end cores in all of football. You have Noah Fant. He's pretty solid. I'm expecting a lot of things out of him in his rookie season. You got Jeff Heuerman. You got Troy Fumagalli. And you got Jake Butt, aka Glass, because every time Jake Butt gets pushed down and gets tackled, he gets injured. So we don't really know how reliable he's going to be. So this offense is good enough to win the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco as the quarterback. And people forget this all the time. You don't have to have an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl. You just have to have a quarterback who's good enough to win those tight and close games in the playoffs. And that's what Joe Flacco is. He's better than Case Keenum. Case Keenum was the average quarterback, but I think Joe Flacco is a level above Case Keenum, because Joe Flacco, to me, he still has one of the better arms in the NFL, and he's still a very solid quarterback if you give him the talent and you get him the pieces around him to be successful. He also has a very good defense. Speaking of the defense, let's move on to the defense side of the ball. Yeah, defensive ends, Derek Wolfe, who is a little bit up there in age. You got Adam Gotsis. You got DeMarcus Walker, who I'm expecting a lot of big things out of this season. DeMarcus Walker. A lot of people are really, really high on DeMarcus Walker. Then you got interior defensive lineman. You got Shelby Harris, and you got Draymond Jones. Now, Draymond Jones, rookie out of Ohio State University. This guy is going to be a force to be working with this season. I think he's going to have a pretty solid rookie year, because this guy is a freak. Has a very good first step, very good quickness off the line. So I'm expecting him to have a pretty solid rookie season for the Denver Broncos, regardless if he starts or not. Then when we look at the linebacking core, they have Von Miller. We already know about Von Miller. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, one of the best defensive players in all of football. And he's basically unblockable, very hard to stop. Then you also have Todd Davis. Then you got Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb was one of the biggest Pro Bowl snubs from last season. He most definitely should have been in the Pro Bowl last year. I don't know how he didn't make it to the Pro Bowl last year. This guy had 12 freaking sacks. As a rookie. How many rookies do you see come to the NFL and have 12 sacks? 12 sacks. This guy, it's no excuse why this guy should have not been in the Pro Bowl. Olivier Vernon went to the Pro Bowl for only 9.5 sacks. But Bradley Chubb went to the Pro Bowl, didn't even go to the Pro Bowl, and he had 12 sacks. 12 freaking sacks. So him and Von Miller are going to wreak havoc this year. I think both of these guys can easily have over 15 sacks this season. Both. So both of those guys end up having 15 sack seasons. This defense is going to be really, really scary, because I don't know how people are going to find ways to block Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. Both of those guys are going to be able to have 15 sacks each this season. Then you also got the cornerbacks. You got Chris Harris Jr. I done said this so many times. I think Chris Harris Jr. is one of the most underrated cornerbacks in all of football, because when we talk about the best cornerbacks in football, Chris Harris Jr.'s name never really gets brought up. And this is coming from a guy who I believe, I don't know if this is true or not, but Chris Harris Jr. was a guy who went 2 seasons without allowing a single touchdown in the NFL. Do you know how hard that is to do? Not a slot corner. This is an outside corner. Outside corner, playing some of the best receivers in the game, matching up against guys like Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, and didn't allow a single touchdown for 2 seasons. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That might be false, but I think he's pretty doggone good if that is pretty true. So I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Definitely one of the most underrated players that we have in the league. Then you got Bryce Callahan. He's pretty solid. You got Kareem Jackson. It's going to be interesting seeing how he meshes with this Denver Broncos defense and his Vic Fangio scheme, seeing if he's going to end up being a pretty good scheme fit. So this secondary for, well, at least the cornerback position is pretty solid. Then you got William Parks and Justin Simmons. Now, both of these guys really, really disappointed me last season. I expected a lot of these guys in 2018, but they didn't really have the best season. So in 2019, I'm expecting these guys to bounce back in a major way, especially Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons had a very disappointing 2018. So these are 2 players who really need to bounce back in 2019, and I believe that they will. And if they are able to bounce back, then the back end of this Denver Broncos secondary is going to be really, really good. Then we also got Sua Cravens. Sua Cravens disappointed me a lot last season as well. Didn't really do much for the Denver Broncos. So overall, this Denver Broncos team can win the Super Bowl, and they can legitimately compete. Joe Flacco, he's not going to lose you games. He's not going to win you any games. I mean, as long as he has talent around him, he's going to be good enough to help you get to the playoffs and help you win the Super Bowl. And like I said earlier, you don't need an elite quarterback. You don't need a great quarterback. You don't need the best quarterback of all time to win the Super Bowl. All you just need is a quarterback who is good enough with talent around him, and that's able to lead you in, able to win you some tough games, and that's what Joe Flacco was able to do. He's able to win those tough games for you. You also have a very solid running game. You got Phillip Lindsay, you got Royce back there as well. You got Devontae Booker there. You got Theo Riddick there. So this Denver Broncos offense is going to be pretty solid. And like I said earlier, the defense, you got Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, probably one of the best 1-2 DN pass rushing units and all the NFL pass rushing duos, whatever you want to call them. Like I said, both those guys guys, I could see those guys both having over 15 sacks a piece. So, I mean, I don't know how teams are going to find a way to block that in this division. So, this is my reasons why the Denver Broncos will win the Super Bowl in 2019. So, let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.